Welcome back to the Gut Academy. I'm your host, Dr. William DePaolo. Today we are going to be discussing the gut microbiome and sleep, specifically whether or not our microbiome sleeps and what it does for us while we sleep, and some specific bacteria that help regulate certain aspects of our sleep patterns and our sleep behaviors. So let's go ahead and get started. We've known for a while that the gut microbiome has diurnal variations, which means that it starts off in the morning different than it ends the day with. So your microbiome is changing and fluctuating throughout the day. I like to think of it as like an ocean. That ocean is never still or never calm. There's always waves. And that's sort of what's going on with the microbiome. There's always going to be small changes that occur during the day as you get exposure to different foods and different stressors and different environments. That's going to have an impact. So that sort of pool of microbiome bacteria and viruses and fungus will shift and change throughout the day. So there are these normal diurnal fluctuations. And we've now know that these diurnal fluctuations do have an impact on the genes that regulate our own sleep. So the bacteria that are present during certain periods of the day do have an impact on the genes that are expressed that help us sleep or fall asleep or stay asleep. But do these bacteria sleep themselves? Do they ever have to take a break? Do they have to recoup and get their 8 hours of sleep a night? Well, studies have shown now that our gut microbes don't really sleep like we do. They actually have their own biological rhythms. These microorganisms are actually very busy breaking down food and producing vitamins and creating helpful substances like short-chain fatty acids. And a lot of these bacteria will wake up during our sleep cycles and be digesting food and producing all of these really beneficial metabolites while we're sleeping. So you can consider your gut microbiome almost like a nighttime cleaning crew. So while we're sleeping, they're busy breaking down the leftovers from the day, turning them into different substances that we can use and producing these metabolites that our body really needs. So really, they are active while we're sleeping. So what happens if we don't get enough sleep? Many of us don't sleep 8 hours a night. Some of us are just have bad sleeping habits, or you're doing other things and you forget to go to bed at a normal time. I'm guilty of not sleeping very much on a regular schedule, but that does affect your microbiome. So if you think about your microbiome, when we don't get enough sleep, it's like throwing a giant party in your gut and there's no cleanup crew there. So basically, these bacteria are all out of whack and they're producing things and there's nothing really tidying up and keeping things in order. Short sleep duration and poor sleep quality have been associated with several different aspects of cognitive and neurobehavioral performance, as well as many different diseases like cancer, type 2 diabetes, and Alzheimer's disease. So it's not surprising that that lack of sleep has an effect on the gut microbiome. So when we skimp on sleep, our gut microbes actually go out of balance, and the friendly ones that are there that help produce these metabolites that we need, they can sometimes lose their edge. And in doing that, you might lose the bacterial diversity that is really important to be maintaining if you want a healthy gut. So a recent study actually found that using multiple measurements of diversity, they found that lack of sleep reduces overall microbial diversity in the gut, meaning that the microbiome is less healthy than those who sleep a normal 8 to 10 hours or 8 to 9 hours a night. When they looked at the specific bacteria that were involved in this, they found that some bacterial families and genuses were actually more associated with different aspects of sleep. So specifically, Lactobacillus was negatively correlated with sleep efficiency, meaning that the more Lactobacillus you had, the less efficient your sleep was. So the less time that you spent asleep. However, they also actually found bacteria that were positively correlated with the number of times you wake up during the night. So if you tend to wake up a lot of times during the night, more often than not, you're going to have a different type of bacteria called Coprococcus that's in your gut, because that's been associated with these wake-ups during the evening. Looking at the gut microbiome in children under the age of 5, they found that there's specific bacteria that regulate how the brain controls chemical processes and the immune system.